Oh, well.
Let's see.
How are you guys doing?
We're good. Morgan's in
Good.
Australia. You know Morgan's in Australia, right?
I know you guys, gosh, that last part of the Twin Flame reunion is so difficult.
What do you mean?
Uh,
What do you mean? I haven't
well,
heard that part.
um, because, well, I guess we'll talk about it.
We can talk about
that,
it.
I think that'd be fun. Going into 2022. Oh, what do you think of my hair? Wait,
I like it. It's on
Nice.
fire.
Yeah, like me. Cheers. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Todo bien?
Fantastico.
Oh, estás extrañando a tu esposita, tu amor, seguro es diferente, muy difícil. ¿Sabes qué sería lindo hacer un show en castellano?
Which show?
We could do a show in Spanish.
I can't speak Spanish.
Yeah, you can.
I don't. I only know the dirty words.
Oh, I can
No.
teach you those.
Uh, I was actually. I go to this Mexican restaurant when I get off my juicing.
Yeah,
When I go to the Mexican restaurant, the last time I went, a couple days, 3 days ago,
yeah,
I sat down and talked with three of the guys that worked there,
yeah.
and it was a mix of Spanish and English, but I was able to hold my own.
Spanglish,
Yeah.
Spanglish.
Well, they were much more fluent than I was, but I was able
Mm.
to at least hang in there a little bit.
Mm-hmm. It's
So
amazing. It used to be. Oh, are we on? I can't.
yeah,
I don't
we're
have my
on.
glasses. Oh, hi, everybody.
Pamela Johnson's here. She's graced us with her presence.
Oh, thank you. Hi. Um, I don't know. We can. It's been intense, that's for sure,
I
as we
know it
all know.
has.
But,
What were you What were you talking about? The last part.
the twin flame union,
Yeah, I
the
only know the
physical
dirty
part.
words to Todd and Ginger and Lemons. She's like, I only know. Yeah, so what are you talking about? Because I see a lot of stuff on Twin Flames. I don't really buy into anything, but I'm always open to hearing what people got to say.
Everybody's different perspective. And I agree. To me, and I think I did a show with Michelle Walling, How
Hmm.
to Exit the Matrix, back like in 2012, and we talked about twin flames. And back then, I had really tapped into my galactic self, my starseed aspect, and very much my soul, right? My spiritual awakening catalyst, my starseed awakening. So it kind of is, that's how it works for everybody, because the star seed awakening really is the next level of the chakra system. We expand, right? And so when all that was happening, I began to receive. This was, I think, was it in 2012 when we were all just like super downloading like star stuff, like 2012, 2013, right after around that shift time has I've lost my all sense of time since my awakening in August of 2011. So it's very hard for me to think what year. I could just remember that it was very difficult. And so the Andromedans, that aspect of me, right? I am a hybrid soul Andromedan Arcturian volunteer, and I began to really begin to understand what the twin flame was all about, and how it expressed itself. And it was kind of like the way I understand it. Of course, everybody's got their way. We're trying to explain things in human ways that are really not explainable. But I always understood it was like an upside down, like an upside down sieve. And so if you were to think of the top part here as our oversoul,
Hmm.
right? And then it begins to break down from, it works its way, it fractures just a little bit more to descend to our third dimension, right? And that's what when we have our spiritual awakening, we begin that climb back, that return to source, and we begin to awaken our third dimensional soul and work through the system. But it is my understanding that the twin flame, everybody in the third dimension, the twins are expressed more in the old way, the karmic twin. So in the third dimension, the dimension of time, the dimension of karma and dharma, like we're learning through pain and suffering or through miracles and blessings, depending on which aspect of your soul mission you are ascending or descending, right? Because ascend through ascension, but we also are ascend through descension, which is what's happening in our planet right now. We're going down, down, down the rabbit hole and finding out all this really dark stuff. And of course, when I say we, I speak of our species as a collective. I found out this dark stuff 10 years ago. Many others knew it all along. So consciousness expands individually and differently within all of us. And I started to understand that the twin flame that everybody was talking about was now how I was being understanding with my galactic downloads. The twin flame is the essence when we come, our souls are genderless.
Hmm.
Gender is something that occurs here on this earth, right? If you understand the matrix and how it works, then you understand how the seven hermetic principles govern all sciences, all maths, and everything. So once, and that of course, gender is one of the seven hermetic principles. And so when the old soul, right, didn't know man, woman, divine feminine, divine masculine, the soul is just like tripping the light fantastic. And we express ourselves here in our physical world, right? As, like, for example, I am seen as a divine feminine, but the divine masculine in the higher aspects of me, my galactic masculine, if you were to call it that, is wide awake. So the twin within me,
Hmm.
it has to occur first. And so I've always understood we have karmic twins in the third, we have twin souls in the fourth dimensional experience, and we have twin flames in the fifth dimensional experience. But when we're talking about 5D, in order for us to be chilling and hanging and leveling up and doing our, winner, chicken dinner timeline of our best life so we can assist others by assisting ourselves and following our heart, we must, in order for us to get to that place, right, we must balance all of that within us. And at the 5D, we have 5 different bodies that we personally have to balance within us: our emotional body, our physical body, our spiritual body, our physical, wait a minute, hold on, physical, spiritual, emotional,
Mental.
mental, and energetic body. Energetic body is the 5D body that we've never been taught
Yeah.
how to do anything, right? Those were all the secret schools of Egypt and all the secret schools that understood energy and how we manifest. That information has been withheld from us, and now we're learning it.
Yeah.
So that's 5D, right? So the twin flames, for example, when I see you and I see Morgan, I see twin flames. Why? You guys are bang on. Why? You're not awakening. You're not going through the fourth dimensional chakra system balancing of your awakening. You're done with that. You're in your fifth dimensional anchored. And the fifth dimension to me, because after the third dimension, the dimensions are non-linear, right?
Hmm.
And so the fifth dimension to me, almost, if I were to try to explain it how I view it when I do my grid work, the fifth dimension is always like the line between the fourth and the third. And that's where everything happens, right? It's in between the two. And that's how we travel. We teleport and do all that matrix stuff. The fifth dimension is the dimension for you to be able to understand those concepts and to consciously be aligned. You have to have everything balanced. By that time, you're wide awake and you are following your heart and walking in service to our Creator, because we're here. We heard the clarion call. We're here. We're past awakening. We're awake, and now we're bang on have using quantum physics and understanding those concepts, have quantum jumped into our, again, winner chicken dinner timeline, which is our life's purpose. So one thing that we came here to do, and it's taken us 99,000 million percent tries to get to this 1%, and we're the 1% now. We have anchored ourselves in our personal timelines into our fifth dimensional earth timeline. And now we're all coming together, and twin flames are coming together in 2022. One, because numerically our universe speaks numbers, and that's the alignment of the timeline. But also because all of us, divine feminines and divine masculines, and please understand that those are not gender related, right? I can be in a masculine body, but be a divine feminine energy, and vice versa. So they're coming together. Those are the twin flames, and coming together in that, we're going to anchor hero gamos. Now we're talking about that love. We're talking about the love that makes babies, the love that heals everything, unconditional love between a man and a woman, and that's something that's been lost and as our.
Wait a minute. I don't know where she went. She's on fire. Jen Reynolds says, wait until your etheric penis comes out and you have sex with yourself. Okay, Maria will figure it out, I think. She'll come back in. It's just the energy. Yeah, it's always interesting to hear, the different takes on everything. But I think there is something to that. She called it the energetic body, the etheric body. Um, you know, not being something that we were told about that was, something that was taught in the mystery schools and such. Because I mean, we talked about it on 3 or 4 shows. Morgan and I had a scenario about 10 days ago that was pretty extraordinary. It was all about the energy bodies, um, and the physical bodies feeling what was going on. We got quite a little something going on here in the audience. All right, you're back. You're good. So that was good. That was good. Okay. So
Yeah.
tell me now okay, so you're in Florida, right?
Maybe.
Maybe? I thought you
Maybe.
were lived in Florida. You live in
I have so much to tell you. I actually had a I have someone that is very, very obsessed with me. It has been stalking me pretty much since 2016, and unfortunately, I had found my little piece of heaven in Florida in
I got you.
my woods. But he found me, and ended up.
Ah.
This was back in the spring. Of course, the amazing thing about that was that on the night before it all came down, I was sleeping completely at peace, had done, my prayers and all that. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you're laying, you're out, you're tripping the light, fantastic, woo! And, I heard this name, like somebody had screamed it. And I think as we expand our clairs, right? We open up our ear chakras, our nose chakra. We expand our clairs to navigate the fourth dimension. We hear things like one of the signs of spiritual awakenings. You hear your name. I used to hear my name before my spontaneous awakening. I'd be like, "Who called me?" And it'd be like, "No one." That was my. That was just the connecting, the oversoul, my oversoul. Yo, girl, time to wake up, right? And so I heard this name, Richard, and it was like I sat straight up in bed. It was clear as a bell. I felt like a very much presence of my creator. I'd had a previous dream a long time ago where I was connected to our source, to our creator. And it was in a pillar of fire. This is
Uh,
connecting to my old ancestral. I carry the old Jewish bloodline. So that, we have the memory in our cellular memory. So when I anchored and tapped into that aspect of myself, I remember that connection to my creator as being there in this tornado of fire. And a name was spoken to me then at the time that I did not know was my soul's name. That happened that night again, right before the night before this person came, and I heard Richard. I sat straight up, and I had the same feeling. And then I got this feeling like I was giddy, like I was like a 2 year old and I just seen, or 3 year old and seen Santa Claus. It wasn't fear. It was the culmination of years of this hunting, right? And now all of a sudden it was like I just knew God had me, let go and let God. I knew that my star family had done everything to show me all the signs, and that final expression, by the time that person came around and it all happened, it was like I can't even, I was in bliss. It was a very strange experience. And after that, things happened very quickly for me. I had literally had somebody knock on my door and offer to buy my property. And right before I moved out. And then right after that, of course, I was by the Swanee River. We flooded, would have been in flooded 48 inches. And it stayed
Wow.
like that for 3 months. I would have been trapped
Wow.
in that. And somehow I'm telling you, and since then, that was July 6th. Since then, I've had so many miracles and blessings. It's like I'm ready. And I know for me, I know that my divine partner, we're aligning. I can feel it because you know how it first happens for me. It just first happens in the ethers. And I think that that's one of the big signs right now where ascension is that we are doing tons of work in the ethers. Like we're connecting, and we're almost back to the same kind of activity between the 12/21/12, where we were all up there in the ethers, and there was all this spiritual warfare. And I don't know if you remember, we were waking up and we were actually physically beaten up. We've been up there, and it
That
was,
still happens.
it happens now. It's bad.
More. It's now. It's more of a fatigue, or
It's that,
like.
well, it's they
But
changed it, that team, TD, Team Dark, as I call it, for It's All a Game, right? They changed tactics now. It's a completely different aspect. It's like they know. It's like it's kind of like we shifted, so it shifted, and we're kind of working our
hmm,
way out of the darkness right now. Fascinating time to be aware and conscious.
let
So
me let me let me ask you. I want to back up a little bit because you said a lot.
oh,
So
sorry,
no, no,
it's
no. It's
me.
fine. It's no. It's all good. So you're in your house. The so is the person that's stalking
It's over
Richard?
now. The
Okay,
police.
it's
It's
over now.
over.
So you're there. Forget about that then. Okay,
Yeah.
so you hear this name Richard.
Yes.
Is your
I had
feeling?
already, well, one of the things, as because, starseed stuff, because you talk, we are activating, starseeds are activating super fast
Hmm,
because we have a very specific thing here to do. And it's different than everybody. And so, as I was activating, I have been pretty much complete and utter isolation, like in the middle, off grid, in the middle of nowhere for the last 24 months. The Holy
hmm,
Spirit, as I call it, right? So I've been developing tons of new gifts that I haven't even shared. But so when this happened, the last click was the audio. I had already seen a timeline and I knew somebody was coming. I had already locked my doors. I had already, set my crystals. I had already, put the 528 hertz to my crystals and amplified and lifted the grid lines. I had done everything I physically, as a global worker, right? Global grid worker for 10 years. I know how to work ley lines. I was across, and I knew something was coming, as we all know, right? And then I saw the timeline. The only thing I didn't know was who my enemy was. And if that sounds crazy, it's kind of like a very biblical thing. Because remember, I come from South America and I have very strong Catholic upbringing. I'm no longer part of that, right? I'm no longer religious. I'm, spiritual like we are. But when I heard that name, it was like I had this vision again, and I saw the whole timeline, and I was just like, it was like my divine masculine within me went, come on. And when the person drove up, I knew who it was because I'd already seen the car. I just couldn't see their face. So when I saw it, I literally was, well, first of all, ready. So it wasn't like I was in my pajamas or something, or my bathing suit. I was ready because I've been waiting since the night before. And it was a strange, strange thing. It was almost like I collapsed the timeline by not collapsing the timeline. It was like in the past, I maybe would have done something, but this time it was like, come on, whatever. It was like I can't, it was like I just knew we were. I had my bat. I was ready for anything. Have trained, seriously, for the last 10 years. I was ready. But when it all came down, it was like there was nothing to be ready for because it already all played out. It was like a different kind of karmic justice.
Right.
And it was just so obviously lower vibrational. Um, but my divine masculine was it was the last part of the hearing, and he clicked on, and I was ready. It was going down. One of us was exiting if it came down to that, because I'm over
Really?
it. Like I was over it. I've been hunted down like an animal since 2016 with all these crazy ass people, and I'm done. And he's part of it. And I'm done. So I was like, God, listen, this is how it's gonna go. Either you need me to be here, and I'm cool with that because I love Earth, but this shit needs to end, or it's time for me to exit and somebody else can take my place because I know there's a gazillion other light workers that will just line right up, God. And I got all my stuff in order, and I just sat and waited. Done. Not doing a thing. I'm just going to be. And that's exactly what I did. And and that's the new way. We for years have talked about how we're gonna follow our heart, we're gonna do this, we're gonna blah 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 blah. But when it's said and done, you've got to let go because we are not here to fight. In 5D, there's no fighting. In the fifth dimension, there's just peace. So what does that mean? One, the reason that I could have had in that situation, one of my ancestors was already killed by a stalker, so it couldn't happen to me because the bloodline had already experienced it. But it could have happened to me if I had fallen in fear. But because of how all the psychic and the everything occurred, I was just like holding my popcorn, waiting for the explosion and implosion, and it happened. And now,
The energy's high. Well, I want to know what happened. Did he knock on the door? Did she take her bat?
he did. He listen.
You're frozen. Hang on.
Okay, so
Oh no, you're back. You're back. Okay. So did he knock on the door? Did you hit him with the bat? How did it end? Can you hear me? Jen, I saw your comment. Yeah, you guys come on. Her signal's a little low. Bruce, you don't answer my text messages. So, okay, she'll come back out. I mean, she'll go out and come back in. So, yeah, this is interesting. I want to find out what happened. She had written me and said that she'd gone somewhere, like changed locations, but it seemed like it was beyond like like Florida. It wasn't like in Florida, but and she said that she went through a lot and discovered a lot of things. Let's see if she comes back. High energy. Here she comes back again. We have to speak fast because we don't know when this is going to happen again. So
you know what?
did
And
he?
I'm in super good internet. And so I showed him all around, and it was, and then he wanted to see I have a tiny house, right? And
Mhm.
and he wanted to see it because I was thinking of
So
selling
wait,
it.
now let me ask you a question. Did you know this guy
I had
before he?
heard about this guy from my neighbor because he'd been weaseling his way in. But
Okay,
that's whole,
so he
yes.
knocks. Does he knock on the door and then you let him come in and see the house?
No, I sensed that he'd come into my timeline, if you want to call it that, when he drove into my next door neighbors, and I watched the car. And because I had already had the premonition of the car, I just hadn't seen the face.
Uh
When it all came together, and when he stopped and he wanted to see what I had, and then when he said his name was Richard,
huh.
I went,
Okay.
oh yeah, come on, and I literally brought him into the house. And because it was over. Like I was gonna whatever needed to happen, I was done. And so at that point, when I figured it out, I played dumb. And then, meanwhile, got all the information. And then it was kind of really freaky at the end. He shook my hand. That's when I knew. That's when I almost lost and didn't stay leveled up. He shook my hand and he said, um, it's an honor and a pleasure to meet you. And when he said that, I was like, okay, see ya, and I just acted like nothing. I never broke a sweat. And then when he left, I went inside and I threw up. And that was it. And then I found out that he had done other things, and then the police got involved, and now it's all, and I'm just kind of watching everybody go, not my monkey, not my circus. I'm busy, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's what's happening to the whole Heart Collective. If somebody has in any way really, really, really gone above and beyond to harm, and the Heart Collective at this point, we have been so traumatized. I mean, it's the darkness has pressed in so tightly in our dark night of the souls. We've been through everything. We've been through so much that we're hugely protected right now as we begin this massive shift into our evolution. And that's why the more I let go, the more that crazy stuff like that started happening. And now I am completely in a safe location. I actually live so far off grid. I live in a farm and we have like 40 animals. We just had a baby goat born 2 days ago. We have 11 pigs, no, little pigs. We had puppies. I mean, it's like I live in a farm, and I am the happiest I've ever been with my soul family. And it's crazy how it's all like overlaid, and it's like the family I lost and all the friends I lost, they come back different, not like physical, but they're soul family. So like they feel like a brother, or they feel like a son-in-law, or they feel like a daughter. It's just amazing how our multidimensional world is opening up. And I just at the point, first of all, I want to thank you for having me. Say three times the charm. And the last 2 times, we always seem to have internet issues, you and I, but I'm sure
It's
it's
the
not the
energy.
only ones.
What's thank you. What
Yeah,
what do you feel was the spiritual significance, or the energetic significance of that whole ordeal with this guy?
I feel that I was clearing for the collective. I feel I was
Mm,
especially the distorted divine masculine, and that attachment, a very unhealthy attachment to the divine feminine. And, us grid workers, and I speak to everybody, because everybody's a grid worker at one point or another. Eventually you get to that frequency and you awaken to that job. Trust me, there's lots of grid work. But I feel that the frequency, the reason that it happened is because I was clearing the stalking energy, that
mm,
dark stalker for the collective. And so of course, because we're all quantum entangled, it's interesting, quantum physics, because it is quantum entanglement that's making our life hell. But at the same time, it is quantum entanglement that is keeping us alive and evolving and not becoming extinct. It's a brilliant program in the matrix. And so energetically right now, right, and how does that portray? Well, just speaking consciousness, strict consciousness, you have in the matrix, as per the 7 hermetic principles that explain to us how consciousness moves through waves, right, and frequencies. You have those that are 0%, let's just call it 0% dark and 100% light. And then on the other side of the polarity, you have 0%, what is it, light and dark, and 100% dark. You know what I mean? And then we're all in between, right? But you always have extremes. Those extremes is the best that can happen and the worst that can happen, right? But those things have happened already. We are within that frequency band, right, of those experiences. So since those have happened, we're quantum entangled in the middle. So we can't blow ourselves up, and we can't come into extinction. But what we are doing as a collective, because we are a species, is we are connected, as you know, through it and through our consciousness and through the heart portal, the heart chakra. whether we know it or not. And we are experiencing the best and the worst at the same time.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like a timeline, right? The top, it's magnetic. Timelines are magnetics. Timelines, right? Our world is a timeline. Our solar system is a bigger timeline in which all the planets within it are within the frequency. Our world is a timeline. Continents are their own timelines because they have different frequencies. Otherwise, they wouldn't be separated through the void, which is the water, right? So continents are timelines. We're talking matrix. And then within those timelines, you then further break down into countries and then into towns. So it's frequency and frequency. That's how we're multidimensional. That's why right now in the world, if we are in the United States, we are so blessed because we're going through this beer illness, this beer drink illness, right? And some are experiencing it in absolute darkness, and then some of others are experiencing it in a complete different light. But
What do
it's
you mean by
affecting
beer? Are
everybody.
you talking about COVID or what?
Yes, I'm just trying not to say those words so we don't get shut down.
Oh, I don't care. They're not
Yeah,
going to shut us
I
down.
don't care.
COVID.
I don't care. Right. And
Um,
so, but think about it. We on 2012, our country. Do you remember back in 2012 when all the ones that were awakening were and Lisa Renee with energetic synthesis was one of the ones that was awesome at it. Everybody was coming off, and we were looking, and they were saying there were two gold bands that were like spinning around the earth, and we were protected, like we can no longer. Do you remember back around 2014?
no, I wasn't. I wasn't paying attention, but
You were doing other things. Okay, that was when our world went into what could be said quarantine or lockdown because that we were in
I
the
remember
process.
that. I
Okay,
remember that
all
part.
right.
Yeah.
So energetically, that's when the energetic lockdown began, and then we had to go. That's the ethers. And then we went through spiritual lockdown, and many of us were in that phase of the dark night of soul, and it worked its way energetically all the way to the physical lockdown, which is what 2020 brought us. We were all put in timeout, right? Every single one of our rights were stripped away. Why? Because we needed it. Even though the darkness has a way of expressing itself, the light will always balance it. And so we needed to basically all be put in timeout and think about it, right? And so
Hmm.
what has happened when we came out of that? Well, you have people now that are no longer willing to put money ahead of loved ones. We didn't learn that if it wasn't because of the pandemic.
Hmm.
This is our consciousness now evolving, and we are watching it evolve. We're coming from the dark era, right, the low frequency, and now we're shifting back to the next octave, to the next earth. And it's happening. We're in it. We're watching it. We're multidimensional. We just never thought, I personally thought I was going to be sitting in a little cloud with a little harp with little wings. I didn't know I'd be multidimensional and having to deal with issues like multidimensional bleed through. This is a huge problem for the awakening collective. You're driving away you've always gone, and because your frequency's gone up, you've now gone into a parallel reality where it's just a little different. You have no idea where you are, but you've driven it 32 million times.
Hmm.
But now if everything looks different, that's multidimensional bleed through because we're in the wobble, right? This is matrix at work. We're
Hmm.
seeing the matrix literally rewrite itself. Like talk about AI that is in the light, right? Because AI isn't just dark. Just like there are dark gods and light gods, there's dark AI from the Tesseract universes and light AI. It's all connected. Tesseract universes still produce light and dark in a different manner, as do organic universes. It's the same. And so right now we're both in this world, right? Our computers were made in a tesseract universe, but they are a full, they, because of the crystal, the Christ in it, right? It's the portal through all the universes. So the trees, everything that we have is not organic is coming from a tesseract universe, and it's still moving because the seven hermetic principles tell us that everything moves. It just moves really slow.
Mm.
And that's why it's solid, right? And so we are right now at the precipice of seeing us humans, humanity, go from human to hueman. Open with a heart, fully empathic, fully intuitive, with all the freaky deakies, without the need to tap into dark grids and dark magic and all of that to manifest or to not manifest. We are creating a brand new way of manifesting in our new earth. And there's no tricking it. There is, that there is no, if you say you're in 5D, there's no faking it because it's frequency and vibration, because aren't, it's not the same. Chakra systems through 22 chakra systems are all different as you start to get up high into, those cosmic chakra systems, and the ones that are accessed, galactic male, galactic female, soul star, earth star. I mean, we can go on hand chakras, so we can begin to heal others with our hands. That's the Christ energy, the hands and the feet, all of that, and every single person on this world right now. And the reason why we're all here is because we're all evolving, we're activating, and we're heading back to our 12th strand DNA. And every time you anchor to a new dimension and you clear a new aspect of your new chakra system, you elevate and get closer to your oversoul. And every time you do that, you get closer to bringing forth what we have been trying to do for the last 2,000 years, which is peace on earth. Because that's really what we're here for. We can talk about everything else, and we can talk about this, that, and ascension, and religion and politics and that. But ultimately, we are here to usher in peace. We're here to stop human trafficking. We're here to stop the complete and horrific ways in which humans are treated in non-humane ways. We're here to stop the abuse of animals, the abuse of our planet. There is no more, maybe. There is no more coming. It's here. The answer is no. You may not harm our planet or harm another. We are the 1%. We are the Heart Collective. We are wide awake. And we have all the patience and time in the world because we're in 5D. We're outside of time. We live in our little heavens on earth in 5D. And then whenever we are called from within to step out, we leave our little homes and we play. We go to Walmart, or maybe we go to Dollar General, or maybe we go to eat food, or maybe whatever. That's grid work. And we in our frequency of being in peace, we elevate those little grids, and then we go back home, and then we connect even more, and then we find new ways to be happy and to tap into our soul. And that is true 5D, body and soul and spirit, right? It's all together, and we're there. And so it's like a big inchworm. We're like the forerunners, the ones that are the volunteers that came here to do very specific grid work and to lay the path work for us to become a galactic race, for us to be able to tap into the ability of this earth to have free energy, and then to be able to transfer that to rocket ships and to get to travel the creation beyond our planet. That's what we're doing right now. We're going galactic. Everybody's coming. They're either going to come around now and experience it, or they're going to return to mother's womb, to the waters, and wait until their frequency comes back around. And then they will be in an ascension timeline automatically. They'll work it all out and they will end up in the future. That's how
Mm.
time works, right? Because we are multidimensional beings. We are light beings. We are that. We are light beings in consciousness that has the ability to travel at the speed of light. And we have been through 5 evolutions of our species, coming from the Polarians, Hyperboreans, the Lemurians, the Atlanteans. We just are finishing up the Aryan race, and we're heading into our new human, or our Homo sentient, if you want to call it that, so that we can reach the stars. Because It's creation. And those of us that are awake understand that. That's why we're able to forgive, because there's nothing to forgive. There's nothing to forgive, right? We are here to understand what love is by experiencing what love is not. That's what we've been doing. But now we're about to find out what love is by experiencing what love is. That's our ascension. That's where our species is going. And we just have to pray. We need to drink as best water as we can, you know. Woo, woo, woo. There's my favorite water. And it's, 7.4. Pay attention, look at numbers, follow your heart, aromatherapy, use, music, the song Lyra, Judy Satori. I mean, I think at this point, everyone just needs to know that we are divinely guided, we are divinely perfect, and we are so close to ending war and the exploitation of men, women, and children in this world, and the animals and the plants and our planet. It's over. And we just got to ride it out. And I guess, that they say third time's a charm, and it's taken me 3 times to be able to come and tell you that. Um, I will no longer be doing any of the same work I've been doing before.
Any of the what?
The same work I've been doing before. I And so my life has just, 10 years ago, I experienced a spontaneous spiritual awakening standing in the kitchen of the home of my home at the time. It's been 10 years, and I've learned a lot, but a lot has happened too, and to me. And I am one of infinite, right? Because everything that's happened to me is happening to everyone. And last 2 weeks ago, I was blessed enough to meet a young gentleman. Oh, he was 20, I want to say 26 years old. And so, I was walking in the mall, and he came up to me, and it was this, this thing about, get your face clean. You know how they do your face? I'm like, yeah, sure, I want to look younger. And so, that whole thing, right? And so we started to talk. And of course, I speak my truth now. I mean, what are they going to say? I'm crazy? Try to lock me up? Oh, I already did that. It's like, what are you going to do to me? What you going to do to me? Right? So he started to speak. And this young man was speaking to me like you and I, right? It's taken me 10 years to get here, right? To emotionally heal, to be able to transcend, to get to 5D and hold it and level up, not do this, right? That's what we've done. This young man was talking matrix, physics, quantum mechanics. He understood the whole procedure of quantum jumping. He understood the matrix. He incorporated prayers. He had activated his Jewish timeline, which interestingly enough, we're both the oldest Jewish timeline in this world, and we came together that day. This young man, and when I finally said, "Oh my goodness, were you born awake?" You know what he said to me? He said, "No, I had this really crazy awakening last week." Last week.
Hmm.
I couldn't decide whether I wanted to kiss him or throttle him. Last week, and he's there. We've done that because every single one of us that has gone through all the pain and suffering of ascension, and I mean pain and suffering, it hurts, right? We fulfill that timeline. So this young man, he didn't have to go through all the shit of ascension that maybe you went through or I went through. He didn't have to go through that pain that I was in bed for 2 years. At the beginning, the ascension symptoms back in 2011 and 2012 were so horrible. We could barely do grid work, and then we'd end up in bed for days. The divine feminine did all, I don't know what the divine masculine, I'm fairly certain they were doing the same. And to know that our legacies are not having to go through the ascension that we, the forerunners, the ones that were born in the 50s and in the 60s and was shot with all the vaccinations and that had to work our way through the nuclear, right? The clarion call that she made when we, started blowing things up. We came, right? we were born at the densest time in the planet. Well, these munchkins that are being born now, they don't have to go through that. So for me, every single really dark from being put from my ex is trying to Baker Act me so they could get my money, to them having me arrested, to having everything stolen from me, to whatever. It's all come back even more now, and they're all in huge trouble. So karma is taking care of them. Otherwise, I don't have anything to do. We have collapsed the dark timelines. So that's why we are now creating ascension. And all these beautiful souls that carry our bloodline are just catching up to us. Just like this young man who taught me, he was talking to me about the hypothalamus and how, the frequency of, he was way up there, like in the 16th chakra system. And I'm looking at him like drooling, going, oh man, you know. Ah,
Are
it
they?
was wonderful. And that's
I
wonderful.
wonder if they're catching up to us or we're catching up to them.
We're catching up to them. They're our future. They're our legacies. Because, we're going, fourth dimension works backwards through time. So we went forward as far as we could go in the out breath of our creator, right? The Big Bang. And then we stopped. We stopped from 2012, 12/21, 2012. Wait, no, I'm sorry. Forgive me. That's incorrect. We stopped from October 28th, 2011, which was when the Mayan calendar said night night. And then that played out through 11/11, right? And 12/21 and all that. The last 10 years, we have been collapsing the 2012 timelines because we just finished the Ethiopian calendar of 2012. So that's how time is stretched, right? That's why it's different. So until all of 2012 was collapsed, we couldn't catch up to 2021 and flip the timeline because it's 1221.
Yeah.
So we had to wait for all 2021 timelines. And so when the Ethiopian calendar finally met the prophecies, and then the Hopi prophecy fulfilled, all the American Indians, all the elders have said all prophecies have been fulfilled. So now we're finishing up now working through the prophecies of both the Quran and, of course, the Old Testament and the New Testament. The prophecies, it's written, they have to play out because there's souls that wish to experience that. That's why it is written. But once those play out, 2022 begins. 22 are the master number 11. So I'm a master number 11. I think you are too, aren't you?
I
Aren't you
think
one of
so.
you
Yeah.
either you or Morgan? Isn't she like, I thought she was like
Morgan.
a 22.
Yeah.
Or is she at
I
33?
forget. I forget all the numbers. I just know there was 11s and 9s.
Yeah, and all sorts of big good numbers, right?
22.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So
So what
they're
do
all
you?
coming
So
together.
what do you think? I don't think anybody can actually tell us, but they can all offer their perspective. What do you think about 2022? Because obviously there's a bookend aspect to 21, 12, 11, and I'm sorry. Well,
Yeah,
December
yeah, yeah.
2012, December 2021. So it looks
Right.
like that we're coming out of that. It's certainly
Right.
been very, very expansive and
Mm-hmm.
interesting the last few weeks.
Oh
October was
my.
really, really big. But like, how do you feel about what it's going to look like? Because it is changing very rapidly. Like when we get
Okay.
into
Well,
22.
well, first of all, I don't think, I feel. I'm
Mm,
fully bang on that. What I feel is that there is another massive wave coming. And the reason for that is because we still have to go through we just went through the 11/11 portal. And as you know, that one just blew us away. So now we just went through the full moon eclipse. And so, of course, these are all astrology to catch up, because remember, we're also in the astrological ascension, going from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. So this is going to end also contracts that did not fulfill, including twin flames and twin souls and twin karmic twins. Also contracts that were not fulfilled in 2021, right? As the frequency of 2021 shifts, because 2021 is a very different frequency than 2012. Even though the numbers are the same, the fact that they're different shows a different frequency. Otherwise, it'd be the same. Does that make sense? There has to be
Yeah,
a
of
shift
course.
in frequency for the difference to occur.
So
It's
what does
physics, right?
2020? What does 2022 feel like to you?
So 2022 for me, where those that have the meek shall inherit the earth. Those that have been completely focused on their ascension, guided from within to fulfill very specific timelines, to bring in the new legacies. It's kind of like, so go back 100 years to 1922, the roaring 20s, right? Because there's nothing new under the sun. The matrix plays the same timelines every 100 years. You get to build upon it. So let's go back and begin to understand. So during 2022, there was what was happening. I go back and study what was happening. That's what's going to happen here, but at the next octave. So we have a 22 number, which is a master number 22. I have met 3 master number 22s, and they're all like the Reiki healers and the ones that are tapping into the Akash. These are like etheric surgeons. I feel that in 2022, the high level etheric surgeons are going to begin to activate so that they can begin to find new ways to heal others. And it's going to begin to vibrate and bring together like the lighthouses, because remember, I mean, there's so much with grid work, right? The 144,000, the 12 what's it called, the 12-sided, not cube, but you know what I'm talking about, a triangle, a hexagon, a blah blah blah.
Octahedron.
We're talking about the sacred geometry of the matrix, right? And the frequency of it. That's all tied together. Remember, we're like this in this final timeline. So I believe that in 2022, the master number 11s, which are the teachers, the master number 22s, which are the touchies, master numbers 33s, which are the avatars at Christ level cosmic consciousness. These are the ones that are like mind blown kind of thing. These are like the galactic, well, I don't know. I'm trying to think of somebody. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda, that, right? Those masters, those are gonna, in the 44s, which are the high angelics, the 55s, which are like, we're getting into like the Buddhas, the actual physical walkers on earth, boots on the ground kind of people. As you begin to work through, I think they're all awakening and activating beginning in 2022. Begin to, with ease and grace, activate their high level chakras. The ascension symptoms for those that have shifted into 5D will begin to let out from a physical perspective, but it will begin to tap in as we begin to anchor and expand our consciousness to tap into these high level, solutions for our planet. I mean, we're talking physics, chemistry, like the big stuff, free energy, Tesla stuff, go Elon, right? So I believe that as our consciousness aligns to that, soul contracts that are brand new on the new earth, and this new earth that we have been gifted, they're going to begin physically coming together. And that's what we started this whole conversation. And I said, oh man, that last twin flame journey, right? Which is, where's Morgan? Where is Morgan? Is she? No, she's in another timeline, right? Because that's the twin flame journey. It's the triangle, and you both start in different continents. Because wait, how's that? Because there is a timeline. So you start. Wait, are you in North? You're in U.S., right? Are you in Mexico?
I'm in the U.S.
Where
I'm
you
in
be?
Arkansas.
In Arkansas. Ooh.
Hmm.
Crystal City. I love Little Rock.
Mm-hmm.
It's a high vibe place there. Very nice. So and of course she's off grid. Is she in Australia? New Zealand? Where I feel her
Australia.
far. Okay, so she's in. Okay, so you are up here, and of course the northern hemisphere is the patriarchal system. So there's your little lighthouse, and she's in the southern hemisphere, the matriarchal system. And you basically, the two of you, every night, right? Because you're learning how to. Do you guys have a chair?
A chair.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Okay, I have a twin, and my twin, me and him, he has a chair. He's in where is he right now? I think he's in Colorado. I don't know where he is. Anywho, he has a chair in his room, and I have a chair in my room, and we take pictures of it. And then at night, right, as we begin to activate our Merkaba, we imagine sitting in each other's chair. And that's how we begin the trend. You know, this is quantum jumping. This is what causes for the quantum jump, right? Because you implode, disappear, move through, and then appear. Teleportation. Well, the twins, like you, right, you've been split up so that you can figure out how to do it, so that you can begin the path for twin flames to begin to come together. Because when you and Morgan, right, and I'm sure she's somewhere, Morgan, Starseed, when the two of you come together, you hear an anchor divine marriages. Now that's a completely different ballgame. That's Hirogamos. That's a completely different love. That's the love that the Polarians realized when they polarized our world into North Pole and South Pole, or gender, right? Matriarchal system in the South, patriarchal system in the North. They realized that in order to make a child, the love between man and woman had to be so strong, so divine to make new life, because we were created by a creator to create. And so that's what they figured out. And so they began to do that. Right now, the last final stages of the twin flames in this world, everybody has already unified. The majority of twins have already come together. They have been unable to maintain the timelines together because we are not, twin flames at 5D are not necessarily romantic. Twin flames can be like a brother and sister, because at this level it needs to be understood that the whole twin is an essence.
Mm-hmm.
It is not an act, and it is not a role. It is an essence. I am connected through the essence of my twin, and in the third dimension I express that with my karmics. There were two of them because I'm a Gemini, so I had twins. In my fourth dimension, I expressed that with two different, but those were twin souls. They were not karmics because they were in the process of awakening, and we were doing physical grid work, right? And then in the 5D, my twin essence, my divine masculine, is busy, right? Because we're trying to weave timelines together so that continents come together.
Is he the one in Denver? Is he the one in Denver?
Maybe.
Well, that's what you just said. You just said
Oh,
you're.
yeah.
So, but like, so when you
Yeah.
sit in these
Red
chairs,
Work.
so well, when you sit in these chairs,
Yeah. You activate your Merkaba.
yeah, I get that. The
Yeah.
reason I'm at, okay, so have you had light body intimacy
No.
okay, we have, and
I
I'm
know
just
you have.
curious. I'm just
Right.
curious is if that's
Right.
part of
That's
what you're.
that's
That's what I'm saying.
exactly what I'm referring to.
That's
Now
what I thought. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
I have had, okay, so with my twin flame, about 7 years ago, I had a very specific etheric connection that, like, it was a lucid, out of body, very, very specific. At the minute I had it, I remembered that we said we would do it that way. And so, by then it kind of began to grow. You kind of have to, find each other. And so our path is very different than yours and Morgan's, because yours and Morgan's are here because you're unifying the bloodlines to unify the legacy of the DNA between North America, or the America continent, and which Americas go north-south, so they're like this, and the Australian continent. It's a different timeline, but it's matriarchal, and so we're trying to get the mother's kundalini, the earth's kundalini, to anchor up. That's what you're doing. We're trying to preserve to where we raise the frequency, so we don't, the lower the frequency, the more that you will have Earth changes. The higher the frequency, the more that it'll miss you. And what does that mean? Okay, if you level up, I've had 4 hurricanes, massive hurricanes, literally jump over my home and
Mm-hmm.
leave no damage. I've had tornadoes literally jump over me. I've had 3 lightning strikes within 2 feet of me. And so these are timelines that are coming together, but because it already happened to a dissension ancestor, I survived it to anchor for my legacies. And so now the blood becomes even stronger. So somewhere in your DNA history, you have an ancestor that connects you to where your twin flame is right now,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's me.
geographically. Yeah.
It's
And
me.
right now, that's what you're doing. You're. That's how the DNA strands are.
Yeah, I can feel it. I mean, I
Yeah, it's
hear
weird, isn't it?
the energy
Yeah.
of what you're saying. We knew this back in March. We knew there was a reason,
Yeah.
many reasons, but yeah, I think this whole thing with the light bodies, the energetic body,
Right.
is like coming online.
Big time.
So
And
yeah,
we're
and
we I
then
mean, and so I have another guy's story. I just remembered.
mm,
This particular gentleman, he literally had was laying in bed and was struck by lightning. Like that's how he expresses it. He said he was laying in bed and this lightning flash hit him in the left side of his head. Of course, that was the universe hitting him with a 2x4 saying time to wake up, young man.
hmm
And so and it happened so fast, and but instantly he connected to his twin, because every twin, we're trying to infinitely create ways to connect with twins eternally. These are ascension timelines that are forever. It is part of the matrix. And so we're getting, it's kind of like when you get to Disney World, and if you get in first, you get to the front of the ride. So you don't have to wait. You can just, okay, that's exactly what's happened to us. We have tapped into the first ascension timelines of our new earth, all of us, the collective, the heart collective. And so it's kind of like, oh, which one do you want? Oh, which one do you want? Well, I want this one. And so it's like we've had so many options that it has paralyzed the collective, because we're not used to having growth. We are used to being in lack of. We're not used to thriving. We're not used to having the option. I have right now like 7 different options for 7 different things that I can do, and I'm blown away. It's like I thought I had lost everything, and I'm like, oh my God, no, 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 no. I lost everything back in that timeline. That was a dissension timeline. But in this timeline, I can do whatever I want. Plus, I mean, let's address the fact that physically, after 10 years of ascension, I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah,
mm,
the energies, but we always knew we had to learn to surf ahead of the wave, right? Because we didn't want to get dragged behind. We had a choice. We either rode the surfboard in front, or you know, I'm a mermaid, I live by, my chances water. We know what it's like to get dragged by a surfboard. Not fun. And so we somehow, through the grace of our source, infinite, unconditional love, we've ended up at the front of the wave with a plethora of options as how to move forward into our new earth. And that has happened because we were paralyzed. Because when the out breath, when it's breath, right, is above, so below. So when we breathe out,
mm,
we then stop, and then we breathe in. The paralyzed of the last 10 years, the heart collective, right, has been paralyzed. They've been in the hold breath of creation, while all the information went back between our living library of our earth and the Akashic records of the central sun. And of course, I have memories of coming through 7 central suns. So God only knows where and everything's aligned. And so now we're almost aligned like that Thor movie, remember, where all the portals were opened up, and it was, do you remember seeing that movie, Thor?
I never
Yummy.
watched it.
Oh,
No.
for goodness sakes, young man. Well, it's the part of it. I'll send you a link. But there's a part of it where he's on Earth, and every single the planets all aligned, and it's like a tube, and you can see all the planets aligned with Earth. Those are portals, right? Well, the reason that happens is because those that can see them. That's why our third eye's open. And then as we anchor fourth dimension, our fourth eye opens. And then we got it coming and going. So as we open all that up, this is all that's coming for us. So 2022 for me is going to be the year of birth. It's kind of like for those blessed enough to have experienced child, which I have been blessed to experience. I have two beautiful children, as you know, a man and a woman, a young man, a young woman. Incredibly proud of them, 30 and 29, amazing. But I know, and it's that we've been going through, for those that understand, the quickening. And this is the time right before, a baby's born, when the mom is like, you can feel it. It happens with all the animals at the farm too. I watch them, and it's incredible, right? And mom hunkers down, and it's like she gets out the toothbrush and the bleach, right? She starts to clean everything. She's got to make her nest because the baby's coming, right? That's the quickening. Mom knows, baby knows, when don't know, but it's happening. It's going to happen fast. That's exactly why we are all as a collective feeling so anxious. We are feeling the birth of us,
Hmm.
and it's the quickening. And so we have to allow ours, because toward the ends of birth, right? Yeah, the baby, slides out, right? But the mom's got to push. So the baby's not doing anything. We need to let mother push. We need to let mother, be with father. Energy is going to create us, father, son, and the trinity, right, of the third dimensional earth. And we are the new children, and we have left a legacy. It's done. So when it's being pulled out, there's going to be massive exit of a lot of souls that do not wish to experience physical ascension. And so they're just going to go to their beautiful space. Mother's going to hold them, right? Father's going to make them stand at the precipice, and one hand is going to push them forward. And what they don't know is there's another hand underneath waiting for them to drop. So push and catch, right? But they don't know that. Let go and let God. But we're all going to go in this birth together. And it's going to feel for like those that are way ahead, like you and more, Kate, you are in service, in the service. You're sure, she's huge as a writer. You are like workers that have not just light, but you've heard hero God's unconditional love. So eventually, because there's no dysfunction in hero gamos, they're divinely what God brings together. No man sets asunder, and what is meant to be yours is yours. No one can take that away from you. We know that in 5D, but those that are going through the third dimensional awakening don't know that. So mother's going to hold everybody until they're ready, because no one's ever left behind, and they will, they will continue. And that many of the avatar level, souls that are here, right? They are basically, it's almost like they've become invisible, because it gets to a point, as you know, where you're so good at 12th dimensional shielding, plus you got the armor of God, Ephesians 6:10. So you're energetically shielded, you're spiritually shielded, you have emotionally done all the shadow work, so you're emotionally balanced. Then you got your physical body, and you've been working to really clean up. So you're physically shielded, frequency of 528 hertz, and then you're what's left. And then mentally, because your divine masculine, your galactic male chakra, and your galactic female chakra has come together. We are not divine, left and right brained anymore in the higher dimensions. We're just boom. We're there's no gender. We're one big brain, ability to both be logical and emotional, creation of the divine feminine and divine masculine at once. That's 5D. So we're just going to hold on and
Right
let
on.
mother birth us, and enjoy the ride, and pray, and try to do the best we can. Right now the mind is big. Everybody's super mental, because they're, we can feel the quickening of the new coming. And so tapping, go back to the old basics. If you catch yourself, like for me, I have to do it. I catch myself in a thought that it's not me. It's programming. And so, I'll say, boom, 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 and rethink it, right? If we do anything for 3 weeks, now it becomes habit, and we have mastered that. We're,
Yeah.
we're the avatar. We mastered our avatar. 3 weeks. That's all it takes. We collapse timelines at night,
Hmm.
right? So during the day, we wake up in the morning, we set our sacred intent to walk in service, and immediately we hook up to the 528 hertz timelines. And then because we're balanced at 528 hertz, we're doing everything that we don't have to do anything. We just level up and holding. And every experience is completely neutral, and we are neutral observers because that's 5D. We're looking between the fourth and the third, and we're in the middle, just holding the space.
It's
You know,
happening.
it's
It's
happening.
happening.
It's no
My
longer
God, that was
waiting.
a
It's
that was
it's
a
here, baby.
that was
It's
4 hours of content in an hour and 12 minutes.
Oh, is that too long? Oh, guess
Yeah.
what so listen, guess what happened? So my internet crashed, of course, but I live in the middle of nowhere, right? With a lot of animals. So we were all laughing. So I ended up coming into a town and staying at a super cool place. And when I got here, guess what my room number is? Well, first of all, they had one room left. Then it was
369.
a great flipping price. Then guess what number I got?
I'm gonna
222.
222. Far out. So you had to go into town to do this. That's cool.
Yeah, because I know I have internet. Because remember, third time's a charm. Because I think that other two, we were like, it was herky jerky. Because I was back in my old home. That home is gone. I'm gone from there. I'm gone, gone. Like gone, gone.
222. Good day.
222, baby.
And discussing 2022. I
Hmm.
appreciate you. I love you.
I
Thank
love you
you. Thank you
too.
for being so open and
Oh yeah.
sharing so much.
If
And
anybody, listen, quick thing. So I am starting synchronization sessions, individual, and I'm going to do a workshop probably in Colorado in Lakewood in January. I'm hoping to catch up with a metaphysical place there, and then hoping to catch up to another star sister in St. Petersburg and do a synchronization workshop there. It's going to be open to all, and it'll just be on a donation basis. But it's kind of like me coming in, and everybody can put questions in a bowl, and then I'll just pull and channel and activate everyone that's there. It's a very galactic starseed thing, but it's my thing. I was doing that before the pandemic, the starseed awakening workshops. I'm going back to that work. And I have reached like 185 tarot and my cards. I'm launching that as well. And anybody wants to reach me for anything, lightlover1964 at gmail.com. My website, lightlover1964 at WordPress, Facebook, whatever, it's all good. But I am doing tarot, and I'm that girl. And I am so not that girl, but I've been that girl hidden. So the closet psychic and medium and all the woo woo me is coming out in public, and I'm just like thrilled. I'm
very
thrilled.
cool.
So
I
yeah.
wish you the best on that always. All blessings to
Blessings to
you.
you, and hope to catch you next November in Sedona, right?
I don't know what's going to happen next year.
Wherever you guys are, I hope to catch you.
All right.
And
You take care. All right. See y'all
peace.
tomorrow.